Hello, Scorpio. Yoga Mystic here at your service to do a weekly energy check-in tarot reading for the sun sign of Scorpio. I have cleared the energy, the space, and the cards with Palo Santo. Spirit, please preside over this reading for the sun sign of Scorpio. Allow your energies to move through the cards in such a way that Scorpio receives the messages they need at this time. Okay. All right, we got a bunch of cards that came out. We're going to put them back in. I like clear, defined answers here. I like it to fly out. I like them to be obvious. Okay. All right. So we've got Queen of Swords and Ten of Wands. Queen of Swords is the crone of the queens. She's the most wise. She's very discerning. She's been through it, been there, done it, got the t-shirt kind of energy. Ten of Wands is walking away from something, putting burdens down. With the Queen of Swords, you know, you could be cutting some things out. With Mercury retrograde, this is a great time to go through all the re's, right? So reevaluate, reassess, review, reflect. And you might be going through a process of cutting things out, walking away from things, putting things down, leaving things behind. And you're doing it to nurture yourself. Taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself. Well, too many cards came out there. Spirit, tell me more. What else is going on with Scorpio? Scorpio, sun signs. I like this. I like to see you taking care of yourself, cutting out negative things, being discerning with your time, your life, your environment. Eight of Pentacles shows me you're working hard. Card fell on the floor. Lover's card. Okay. In the spiritual sense, the Lovers has everything to do with balancing and uniting the inner feminine and inner masculine within the individual. But it could very well have something to do with a physical relationship. Three of Pentacles is working together on a project or a creation. So it looks like you're working hard with someone on something. Okay, tell me more about the Queen of Swords and Ten of Wands. Nine of Pentacles. Too many. If there's three or more, put them back. Queen of Swords, Ten of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. Tell me more about the Queen of Swords, Ten of Wands. Three cards, put them back. Queen of Swords, Ten of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is a card that came out with a bundle and it came back out, so okay. Four of Cups, if you can see, she's a little disappointed. There's a sense of boredom. You know, this might have been you got tired of your own self. You know, like, I'm tired of being like that, or I'm tired of doing that. I'm, you know, maybe it's like, it's a sense of, if I want change in my life, I know I have to do something about it. So it's like you hit this spot where you're like, you know what, I need to make the change. I need to be the change. So whether it was you decided to start eating healthier, you started to stop smoking or stop drinking, you decided to become wise and make those changes for the betterment of yourself. Tell me more about the Eight of Pentacles, the Lovers, and the Three of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles. Okay, an ending of a cycle, working really hard to end an old cycle or end an old pattern in your relationship. Yeah, it's like the evolution of the partnership. I think maybe part of your own things were bleeding into your relationship. So not only are you trying to make these changes for your own good, but you're working really hard to better the relationship, putting old patterns behind you, evolving. Eight of Pentacles, Lovers, Three of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, the Moon card. Ending a pattern for the evolution of the partnership. Now we have the King of Swords coming out. Discernment, logical. You're being logical about this. Okay, what is some advice? Advice and guidance. Okay, we had the Five of Swords come out. The Two of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the Wheel. So advice, if I look at this as advice or guidance, Five of Swords can be mental conflict. It can be struggles. In the original Rider-Waite deck, he is looking back over his shoulder, replaying, you know, again, Mercury retrograde. So replaying, reflecting, reviewing, reassessing what has happened in the past. Now be careful with this, because a lot of times when we keep or we continue to think about the past, we can continue to manifest the past into the present. So be wise. The goal with this card is, yes, review, but review it to take the wisdom forward. You know, learn the lessons. It's, you know, learning the lessons from the conflicts, learning the lessons from the trials, the tribulations, learning the lessons from the hardships, right? So Spirit is saying, learn the lessons, or review it in a way that you're taking the lessons with you to move forward. Two of Pentacles, weigh both options. I guess they're, you know, Spirit is saying that there's two two sides to the coin, or two views. Maybe making sure you're seeing the other person's point of view as well as your own. Make sure you weigh both sides of the coin. There is movement forward. Well, spirit, if this is advice and guidance, this is saying move forward, take initiation, take action to move forward. Yes, learn the lessons, see both sides, move forward. If you do this, you'll be blessed. The wheel is good luck, good fortune. It'll help move things along. So if you're looking to get this done, get it moved forward, take the lessons learned, see both sides, take action to move forward. Okay, let's get final outcome. Too many. Final outcome for Scorpio. Final outcome for Scorpio sun signs. Final outcome. Final outcome. Okay, let me just scoot all these off to the side. Let's talk about the final outcome. We've got Ace of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, Two of Cups. This is lovely energy. Sorry for the glare. Hopefully you can see this. It's kind of right in this area. There is no glare. Ace of Pentacles is evolution of value. If it's the relationship that you're working on, and remember the value of it. Or maybe, because this is final outcome, maybe you realize the value of it. Maybe there's a remembering or an awakening of the value because of the hard work that you're putting into it, and the other person is probably putting in hard work. It raises in value. The more effort we put into something, the more valuable it becomes, right? So it's like the value is raised. It evolves, it elevates, right? And you end up being strategic, methodical, Seven of Swords. You're strategic and methodical. And then we have Two of Cups. Beautiful. So this is a good outcome. I'm going to move these off to the side. I'm going to get you a Buddha, Wisdom of the Buddha Oracle card. One Buddha card for my Scorpios. Spirit, can I have one Oracle card for Scorpio? Okay. Ooh, in soulful repair. Interesting. I wish I remember who got this card. Someone else got this card. In soulful repair. Number 15 breaks down to a 6, which is a harmonious number. The Buddha says the root of all suffering is attachment. Okay. So, and we're going to read it from the card. There's something about the mudra. I remember. Okay. So, what is the origin of suffering? Desire and selfishness. So pay attention. If you're being selfish in your relationship, or if you have been selfish in your relationship, how is that played out, right? And how can we be more selfless, right? And giving. Desire too, we're talking about relationships. Let's just talk about it. A lot of times, most humans in today's world, we have an idea version of our lover in our mind. And a lot of humans can't meet the expectations of the idea we have in our head. And so when we're dealing with an actual human, because they're human, a lot of times they have shortcomings, flaws, and whatnot. And we then end up disappointed because of our expectation of this idea we have in our head that the human is not meeting up to. So check in with yourself on your expectations, your ideal version that you are comparing to the human standing in front of you. It's important that we love people for who they are, not for who we want them to be or what role we want them to play. Okay, so what is the origin of suffering? Desire and selfishness. It is lust, passion, and the thirst for existence that yearns for pleasure everywhere, leading to a continual rebirth. What is the annihilation of suffering? It is the radical and total annihilation of this attachment, the abandonment, the liberation, and the deliverance from passion. What is the path that leads to the annihilation of suffering? It is the holy eightfold path that leads to the annihilation of suffering, which consists of right view, making sure we're seeing things clearly, right decision, making sure we are acting, deciding for both parties, not just ourselves, right? Right speech, making sure our words don't do any harm, and then right action, right living, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. With the, I'm going to totally butcher this mudra name. I'm just going to say what it means: gesture of understanding. In his right hand, the medicine Buddha holds the myrobalan plant. So if you see in his right hand, he has this plant that can aid in the healing of suffering and sickness. In his left, a begging bowl representing non-attachment. Feel the blessings of the medicine Buddha and feel the peace of the awakened soul. So I think you have been working really hard and you're doing a good job. But it looks like there still is some things, right? We're always letting go. We're always letting go. Practicing non-attachment, or in the yoga world, we call it a parigraha. A parigraha means non-attachment. We do things, and I remember a reading or two back, we talked about Scorpio, you being yourself, being yourself full of your depth and your emotion and the way that you are. Just because you may not receive that back, or maybe you're not seen or validated, doesn't mean that you should shrink yourself or stop being who you are. What you need to practice is letting go of the attachment of the outcome. Continue to be yourself, but can you do it because you're coming from a place of love just flowing, overflowing from inside you, instead of loving for an outcome or expecting a certain specific outcome or event, right? So keep up the good work, Scorpio. You got this. I know you do. I'll see you next time.